This is the Choosing Joy podcast with me, Jodi Lynn Turpin. Take a breath, feel it all, choose joy anyway. Hello, and welcome back to the Choosing Joy podcast. It's me, Jodi Lynn Turpin. Today is episode number 80, and that's really exciting. How are you feeling today? How is your heart? How are you doing in general? I'm going to talk today about change, and specifically about the change that we choose for ourselves, the change that we make, the change we make through habits and understanding we want something different with our life, even with the tiniest things to huge experiences and choices. When I work with people, I see a couple different things. And one of my friends always refers to this as loops, and I like that idea, but you're in a loop. And so you keep getting that same test and that same situation happening over and over. And how do you get out of that loop? How do you choose a different scenario or a different way of thinking to not continue that loop? And how do you create a habit so that you can keep that change, that with that certainty of making a change and deciding a different way for you, for your family, for however you want to look at this. So number one is noticing the loop, noticing and being aware of the change that you desire. And I think that awareness is huge. It is probably, honestly, it is the biggest part of it, because now you're aware, oh, I'm doing this and it's not helping me. Or whenever this situation happens, I respond in this way and I don't want to respond that way anymore. I want to feel different. I don't want to let myself get so upset about this or allow people to take advantage of me in this way, or for maybe it's different things you're consuming from food or social media or anything like that. So once you become aware, you can start making a different choice. So of course you're going to have that first, that reaction, ouch, ouch, ouch. I do not like that when that person says this to me, or I don't like when this happens. So you get a tinge, you get that feeling of that, like that icky feeling. And then you stop and you're aware of that feeling. And you said, but I'm going to now start feeling this way. So thank you for this experience. I'm grateful to have this test again, but I've decided to move forward, to not feel this way anymore. And each time you do this, each little micro thing that you do, it starts to tip the scales in your favor. And of course, you'll get that test again, and you'll get that test again. And then one day you'll get that test and you'll be like, oh, I didn't respond at all. It just is what it is. It was neutral. I'm okay with that. And then continue to be grateful, because you may still get that test, but it'll come in different forms as you grow, as your vessel expands, as you become more of the person that you're here to be, living in your purpose, giving to the world as much as you can. And a side note about vessels, this has actually come up a lot this week for me, but as your vessel expands, as the capacity of what your mind, body, soul, and spirit is capable of, it's like you're walking up a ladder and the balloon is filling up. You're inside this beautiful balloon, like the whole essence of yourself. But then you fill in this balloon and you have to expand beyond the balloon, so the balloon's going to pop. And there's so many different analogies. We actually, with both of the people I worked with this week so far, they said different analogies, which were all like really fun to think of it this way. But when you go up this ladder and then it pops, you kind of go back down to the bottom of the ladder, and you're not less, you never go back. But now you're at the bottom of this ladder, filling up a new balloon of your understanding, of your growth, of your knowledge, of everything you desire for yourself. So sometimes when you're at the bottom of that, when you're just like the ping pong ball in the balloon, it sometimes feels kind of low. And so in that time, you may get more tests. You may even feel like a little bit of sadness or like, oh, I just did all this work. Why aren't I feeling like $1,000,000, like I'm on top of the world? It's because you're at the beginning, you're at the bottom of a new ladder with the capacity and capability of growing up to the top of this one, and it'll just keep happening. It's a beautiful cycle. But when you're aware of that cycle, it really does feel better. And you can have this as micro little things that are happening, maybe experiences with your mom or your family or in your business or with money or love, or it can be all these different things. And your vessel keeps expanding. So thinking of that along with getting out of these loops, you're going to grow and you're going to keep growing, and it's going to feel good and it's going to feel bad, and there's going to be joy and there's going to be anger and there's going to be the antsiness, and all those things are very important. But stand back and look right now. What's something in your life? I feel like everyone has it, that you want to change, that you want to do different. Maybe you want to eat healthier. Maybe you want to start a business, but you're nervous to. Maybe you want to start a podcast and it sounds horrifying to put yourself out there that way. Maybe, you wanted to just start exercising a little bit, but you want to do it on your own terms in your own way. Beautiful. So start looking at like what's stopping you? What's that? Like, why are you in this loop of being like, no, I can't work out. It's going to be too hard to do that. But maybe you need to simplify it and look at it in a different way. So you step out of that loop of being like, well, I know I would like to take care of myself, but it's just a little bit too much to go to a gym. But you don't have to go to the gym. You could walk around your yard. You could do a free workout video on YouTube. You could seriously do anything. Jump on your kid's trampoline. Yoga. And this is just one example. I'm just talking about working out, but this is with anything in your life. It's how you're responding to life. Are you responding to each of these things in a reactive way? Or you're like, oh, I don't want to feel that way anymore. I'm going to make a change. And I would say for myself and most of the people that I work with, number one, you got to pray about it and see how you could change. I'm very aware that I'm doing this. What can I do? And then start changing your day. Like, that's crazy to think of. I mean, even for myself before, I've been like, I can't change my day. I have to do this, this, and this. Yes, of course, I have to eat and I have to do this, but do I need to look at social media, or can I take like a 24-hour little fast from that and do some micro learning or read a book or go somewhere different, like go to a different thrift store or go to a new library, like change up what you're doing so you can start to see things differently, so that your perspective can change. Even just shifting by 1%, it will help you get out of that loop. Especially say if your loop, you always have this thing happen at 4 o'clock every day. So every day you're like, what could I do differently at 4 o'clock to start getting out of this loop, out of this thing? Or every time you see your family, this specific thing happens. So what can you do to change that up? Just a little bit. What could you do to change it? And be brave within that, because it's a very fast route to joy, number one, but also it's scary to be brave when you're going to change something, and you're going to change something maybe loudly in front of everyone, like your family or how you do your business or something like that. And you just want this little change. So it takes a lot of bravery, but you go through it anyways, even though you maybe want to throw up a little bit and you're sweating and you're nervous and you're like, how is this I don't know what the outcome's going to be. It doesn't hurt to try. And maybe the outcome won't be what you want, but so let's try a different way instead. It needs to be a complete 180 from that. Yeah. The choice you get to have within this, you get to choose how you want to feel about things. You get to choose your joy. And you get to choose you're choosing the things that you don't want in your life too. even though they might be easier or safer in the subconscious, you choose it and you keep choosing it. So how are you going to start to choose something different? Where are you going to make those little bits of change to get closer to joy, to get closer to your dreams and your goals, so you can fall out of those loops and come into a new way of thinking, a new beautiful way of thinking for you? You could read books or listen to books or podcasts every day. Flood your brain with good information that supports you and loves you and holds you. If you keep flooding your brain with the opposite, with negativity, and you are so unaware that there's good things in the world, then of course that's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to feel. So what can you start doing? I would love to talk about this with everyone. It's honestly the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that I do when I work one-on-one with people is feeling into those loops and those things that hold you in one place and bring anxieties and anger and fear and the things that don't feel good. And of course, we're always going to have those feelings in our life, but the better we get at it and the more we practice changing, your whole life changes. I love you all so much. And I'd love to hear from you, Jodi at JodiLynnTurpin.com. You can find me on my website, JodiLynnTurpin.com, or Instagram. Again, I try to go on Facebook, but I'm not so good at it. So I'll talk to you all soon, and I love you, and have a beautiful and joyful day. You've been listening to the Choosing Joy podcast with me, Jodi Lynn Turpin. Be gentle with yourself, trust the timing, and keep choosing joy again